Hi guys, welcome back to another video, the first one of 2019, so Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a good Christmas. Today's video is not going to be me doing anything really, it's going to be me talking about the status of the builds and kind of what the plan is for 2019. So, as you probably noticed, a few of the cars in here have moved around, namely the Corrado and the Caddy. They've switched around because I want to start working on this. The Caddy, let's walk over to it, is progressing nicely. Let's walk you around. So the engine bay is now painted, engine's back in, brakes have been plumbed, clutch has been plumbed, drive shafts are on, the temporary ones, gear shifters in. The only thing left to go in now is the radiator and the water hoses and fuel lines. Fuel pump, I've made some brackets and mounted that to the back. New fuel lines underneath. What am I waiting on? I'm waiting on some new rear lights, some headlights. I've painted the grille red. Got a new rad there. Tailgate's painted, which you can't see, but you can see it's here. It's painted and it's on. In terms of the dash, it's in-ish. I've kind of figured out how I want it to sit. So for kind of the clocks to be in the middle of the dash, so obviously we are sat facing the clocks, I want them to be banging in the middle. The dash has to be predominantly over to the right. So this is the right under tray. I've managed to cut kind of the inside edge of the driver's side out, so this part bends in now, so that's giving me enough flex, so that's fine. The bottom part, because it's rigid plastic, it's got no flex in it at all. So what I'm going to have to do on the driver's side, which is this piece here, is literally just cut this corner off and then re-glue it, stitch it, whatever you want to call it, back on, put it in, cut about 10mm out of it, and that should be the dash complete. What I'm probably going to end up doing is, because this dash is a bit haggard now and I'm missing a fair few bits, and all the heater ducts piping I haven't got, so I'm probably just going to look for a cheap 6N2 Polo, take the dash, center console, and actually cut the mounts off and weld them back into this to make it a bit easier, and I'll just scrap the rest. I think that's probably the easiest thing to do. But yeah, the all the clutch, you can't really see it, but all the clutch is now plumbed in. There's a little master cylinder in the engine bay now, which I'll just quickly show you. You can just see it there. That's the clutch. So again, we're making good progress. We're almost there. But whilst I'm waiting for the last few bits, I thought I'd put it to the corner of the workshop and concentrate on some of the other projects. So the Corrado, looking rather dusty because it's been sat there waiting patiently, but I've ordered a fair few bits for it recently and they've come through, so we can start to make some progress. So if you've watched the previous videos, you'll have known that I cut the centre tunnel out, and I'm now grafting in an MR2 centre tunnel, and the reason for that is the fuel tank in an MR2 sits in the middle. Clearly with a twin engine car you haven't got space for a fuel tank in the back because there's an engine sat there, so for me that was kind of the easiest solution, because I want obviously the fuel tank to be in the middle of the crash zone, so it's not at either corner of the vehicle or behind me, etc, etc. So what else to report in there? Yep, nothing. So again, I talked in previous videos about having my intercooler down here and having kind of like a rear, well obviously it's a rear mounted radiator here, but having kind of a perspex ducting which pulls air down through the rad, through the intercooler and then through the rad. And then I've got two reasonable sized fans behind here. I might put an oil cooler behind there as well, and in this kind of intake on the side I might put a kind of an open panel filter or something in there. Not quite sure yet, but I'm going to use a normal log style manifold on the rear engine which means the exhaust will sit at the back of the engine. So the exhaust will come out through the side and come out through the bumper, and then the intake will hopefully duct up round to here. On the front, bear with me because that bonnet's heavy. Try not to drop it because I have hit this on my head before and I can tell you it hurts. Oh, that'll do. So, front engine. As you can see, it's already been plumbed for 2 clutches. Now the guy who originally built this was going to put 2 20 valve turbos in it. Obviously I'm putting 2 VRs in it. So that mount has been modified for a 20 valve. So it's been dropped down by, I think, about 20-30 mil. The engine mounts I'm using are from a company called Epitech in Germany, and they're specifically for mounting an O2M gearbox to a VR6. So in fitting that kit, you have to remove that engine mount and reposition it, and then weld kind of a side bracket to the front engine mount. So because that one's already been modified for a 20 valve, I need to change that one. So what I'll do is, this is one which hasn't been modified, which was a spare one I had. So I'm going to fit that one on here, use that one as a template, get that mount moved over, jig it up, and then do it again for the back. And that will be the engine mounts in, so that I'll be able to mount the engine in the front with an O2M gearbox 6-speed, and I'll be able to mount the same engine with the same mounts into the back. Once the engines are in, I can then start to position turbos, work out intake piping, intercoolers, etc, etc. Then when I'm happy with all that, engines can come back out again and I can finish the bodywork in terms of finish welding the center tunnel, kind of neatening up this back section in terms of a rear bulkhead, and just the little odds and sods that you can't really do with engines in the vehicle. Then I've got to make a shifter. I've got a the brand now. What is it? A CAE shifter for an O2M gearbox. I'm going to try and modify that so it can obviously change both engines at the same time, or both gearboxes, should I say. In terms of engine management, I'm not sure. I'd really like to use Cyvex, but they're bloody expensive. Also, I would like to use kind of 2 tablets for dashes, rather than trying to kind of modify a set of clocks. My thinking is if I can use the output from the ECUs to drive a set of tablets in terms of vehicle speed, engine speed, and all the other kind of information I want to see, that would be easier. I know Cyvex do some tablets style stuff, and I think there is an output, but I need to look into more detail. If not, I might use a link or go back to the original Mega Squat. I'm not sure, but we'll get to that. Still plenty to do before then. Drive shafts, I've got the drive shafts now, and they're rated to take a reasonable amount of power, so that should be all good. Next is brakes. So on the back I'm going to be using 312mm discs with Porsche Brembos. On the front I'm going to be using 330mm with AP Racing Seat Motorsport front calipers. Now I've got the brackets for the rear box, the calipers. For the front I need to make a set of adapter brackets, but that will all be explained in a future video. And that's kind of it in terms of 2019 and the Corrado. Next it is the trusty old E46. So again, we've got a 12 valve VR6 sat in there currently. I do need to make some progress with this. The only thing really holding me down, or holding me back, is the adapter plate. I just need to kind of finalize that. Now I was kind of doing it by eye and kind of just measurements. I'm not sure if I'm 100% happy with that. I'd prefer to get the bell housing from this, the adapter plate I've got from the VR5, the BMW gearbox kind of scanned, and then use a CAD package to make sure everything's perfectly aligned, because it's just getting that center point for both sides, on the BMW side and then the VR6 side, just making sure the center point of both of those 2 plates kind of marries up. So I think that's what I'm going to do. In terms of this, that whole set is actually destined for the Corrado. I've got 2 of those for the Corrado. Now, my thinking, and I might change my mind, as I often do, is this is that VR5 engine I took out the Passat. Now that, I think this is going to be easier and quicker to fit in and allow me to kind of adapt it and work out the finer points. Simply because it's a bit narrower, it will make it easier. I know there's lots of talk in this video, so I do apologise. But if you look down here, the engine does sit a little close to the steering rack. Now, with it being down kind of less one cylinder, it will sit further back that way. So it will be further away from the steering rack. Now this will fit in with that steering rack, so I'm not concerned. I'm just thinking to get it in there, get it kind of all set up and make it easier to adjust around. It might be easier to start with the VR5. Plus I've got a Garrett GT3071 that I can use on this. So I reckon I'll be able to make a reasonable amount of power. And then if nothing else, once it's in there and running, or in there and positioned, I can take this out and put it into the 46 compact, and that can be my kind of drift practiced car engine, if you want to call it that. And then I'll progress with the VR6 on the coupe. So, as you can see, as always, there is lots and lots to do. 2019 is going to be a very busy year, but fingers crossed it will be a productive year in the sense that some of these will get finished and I'll get to go and enjoy them, drive them around, scare myself silly, etc, etc. So hopefully I'm going to try and upload videos at least once a week, but we'll see. I'll try my best to do so. If you've got any comments or any suggestions in terms of what kind of videos you want to see, whether you want to see more of me just talking, you showing your stuff, or you want to see more detailed videos on how I'm doing stuff, etc, etc, just leave me something in the comment section. I'll read them all anyway, and I'll try to adapt the videos to what kind of people want, just to make it a bit more interactive, or basically put out content that you want to see. But anyway, enjoy your 2019, and as always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers, bye.